Okay, everybody ready? All right. Good afternoon. My name is Renee Garcia, City Solicitor. My team at the Law Department acts as general legal counsel for the city, and part of our role is to advise the city on matters of general regulatory compliance. Although the end of the BIRT tax exemption has now been addressed in several venues by several city officials, there seems to be some confusion and misinformation circulating. As such, I want to share some insight into the city's legal risk analysis when considering the feasibility of this program. As with any tax legislation, the city is concerned with uniformity under the law, which aims to ensure fairness in the tax system so no one is treated differently or unfairly in taxation. Over time, Pennsylvania's uniformity clause has been interpreted in stricter terms, limiting the city's ability to tailor tax policies of specific community needs. The city has enacted several generous tax benefit programs like LOOP, the homestead exemption, the senior freeze, and the low income tax freeze. To implement those real estate tax programs, the city successfully lobbied the General Assembly to use its special constitutional permission to pass laws to authorize those programs. That did not happen with the BIRT exemption. There was no constitutional amendment. As a consequence, right now, the General Assembly does not have special constitutional permission to authorize the city to give different tax treatment to small businesses. Proceeding by constitutional amendment and enabling legislation is a lengthy process, but a necessary step to legitimize these types of tax relief programs. The courts have been very clear on how tax uniformity applies. If you create a threshold and tax people above it but not below it, you are violating the Constitution. And it does not matter that everybody gets the exemption. What matters is the effective tax rate. I'm going to say that again. What matters is the effective tax rate. A series of recent PA Supreme Court decisions make it clear that the uniformity clause is not only interpreted strictly to prohibit classification by income in personal tax cases, but also in business tax cases. And when the Zoll case was filed, it was incumbent upon the city to revisit the BIRT exemption in light of those PA Supreme Court cases. With this consideration, it is very possible that a court may find the BIRT exclusion unconstitutional. We cannot predict what a court would order in that instance, but a decision requiring a retroactive remedy could have serious consequences for the city, including sanctions or reimbursement of hundreds of millions of dollars per tax year. The city has an obligation to remain compliant with laws that apply to tax collection. Additionally, the city has an obligation to reduce overall risk and costs to taxpayers. To this end, in consultation with her key leaders, the mayor made the hard but prudent decision to discontinue the BIRT exemption rather than placing the city into a devastating financial position. While we realize this news is unwelcome, the city will continue with financial assistance and business support programs that remain compliant under tax law. Next, you will hear about the financial risk assessment from the city's financial director, and then we will welcome our colleagues from the Revenue and Commerce Department, who will share details about these successful programs that support local businesses. And finally, we will hear from our community partners on their readiness to assist our businesses to take advantage of those programs. I call up Rob Dubow now. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. I did also want to start by emphasizing we really always thought this was really good tax policy and really something we wanted to do, but for all the reasons that Renee talked about, thought we really have to propose eliminating this exemption. And I'm going to go into a little detail about what the consequences to us could be of not eliminating it. So the BIRT in our FY26 budget is projected to generate about $725 million. If the sanction we received was that we couldn't impose that tax, that would mean a devastating loss to our budget. To put it in context, that $725 million is more than the combined budget amounts of the fire department, Parks and Recreation Department, Free Library, and Department of Licenses and Inspections. So to balance a budget that lost that much revenue would be devastating. We'd have to look at a series of both reductions and revenue enhancements. So we did not think that that was a risk we could take. With that, I'm going to hand the mic over to Kathleen McColgan, the Revenue Commissioner.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kathleen McColgan, Commissioner of the Department of Revenue. At the Department of Revenue, we understand that changes to business taxes often comes with questions and important decisions, especially for small businesses. And I want to assure you that you will not have to navigate this change alone. In close partnership with colleagues at the Department of Commerce, Revenue is committed to supporting every business through this transition. With the exemptions ending, the Department of Revenue has identified approximately 20,000 Philadelphia businesses that previously were not required to pay the business income and receipts tax, but will now need to file and pay for the 2025 tax year, which is due on April 15th, 2026. There are also an estimated 34,000 additional businesses that did not previously file a BIRT return, and we cannot confirm their tax obligation without a filing. In the coming weeks, Revenue will be sending 2 multilingual direct notices to business owners and tax professionals to inform them of the tax changes and direct them to resources for information and support. The notice will include instructions on how to sign up for Revenue's dedicated newsletter series. This notice will include instructions on how to sign up for Revenue's dedicated newsletter series. We encourage all businesses to sign up for the newsletter so we can establish a direct communication path for this change and to provide information about support that's available. The department's future outreach will include plain language guides, how-to videos, and live webinars, all designed to make business taxes easier to understand and manage. And while Revenue is here to help, now is a great time for businesses to start thinking about these changes, how it will affect them, and to consult with a trusted tax preparer. With that, I'm pleased to turn it over to Deputy Commerce Directors Karen Fegley and Yvonne Boy, who will share information about the significant investments Mayor Parker proposed to strengthen and support our city's business community.
Good afternoon, everyone. The Department of Commerce works every day to support entrepreneurs through all aspects of doing business in Philadelphia. Mayor Parker has proposed a major investment into our small business programs at the Department of Commerce. With an additional $30 million, we will implement various initiatives that we hope to have direct impact. We are going to increase funding to local business service organizations. These organizations provide direct classroom as well as one-on-one consulting and coaching to assist Philadelphia micro-business owners and entrepreneurs. We're going to increase direct capital to businesses through our programs like the Philadelphia Business Lending Network Incentive Grant, Storefront Improvement Program, the Small Business Catalyst Fund, and the Commercial Real Estate Acquisition Loan Program. These programs are aimed at helping local business owners get money in their pocket to take advantage of opportunities and grow their business. We're going to increase funding for a roster of diverse, multilingual accountants and tax preparers that will provide free city, state, and federal tax preparation for businesses making under $100,000 in annual revenue. This particular item is targeted to the businesses that will be affected by this change in BIRT and that will be filing and paying BIRT for the first time. One other thing we're going to do that we found to be a really strategic investment is increase the amount that we make available for emergency grants. Our emergency grant program allows us to meet the needs for businesses when they are dealing with, when they are impacted by a disaster, a hurricane, a flood, or a public works project that might interrupt their business. I also want to talk about how we're going to reach businesses and let them know about all of these resources. We're working closely with our colleagues at the Revenue Department to make sure they know about the tax changes, and we are also going to work hard to make sure every business knows about all of these resources we have for them. We'll enhance our social media toolkits for programs with content, videos, and graphics. We're going to provide all of our commerce flyers in the top 10 languages spoken by business owners in the city. We'll be hiring some additional staff, including our Mayor's Business Action Team, so that we have individuals who are ready to support entrepreneurs through all aspects of doing business in Philadelphia. Again, with the Revenue Department, we're going to amplify access to information and resources through newsletters, advertising campaigns, search engine optimization, events, and media channels. And we're going to use our continued business support collaborations with our partner organizations across the city, including organizations that we fund to hire staff. So from chambers of commerce, business improvement districts, community development corporations, financial institutions, and business support organizations, we count on all of them to help us get the word out and provide assistance to businesses. I mentioned our Mayor's Business Action Team. We have business navigators who are specialists to help individual businesses resolve complex challenges in navigating city regulations, including taxes. And so, as always, we are here to help businesses. They can contact us anytime by emailing business@phila.gov or calling 215-683-2100. As I mentioned too, we rely on these partners around the city. A few of them are here today. I'd like to recognize Kendra James, representing the African American Chamber. And now we're going to hear from Jennifer Rodriguez, CEO of the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and Iola Harper, Executive Director of the Women's Opportunity Resource Center.
Good afternoon. I'm Jennifer Rodriguez, President and CEO of the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of our chamber and the thousands of small businesses we serve across the city. Small businesses are the heart of Philadelphia's economy. They make up more than 90% of all businesses, and together with mid-sized firms, they employ nearly half of private sector workforce. These businesses are not owned by distant shareholders. They're owned by our friends, family, and our neighbors. They create jobs, build community wealth, and help define the identity of our neighborhoods. Today's announcement reflects a serious and complex moment for the business community. While we recognize that the elimination of the $100,000 BIRT exemption is not a policy choice, but rather a legal necessity that many experts view as inevitable, it does present very real challenges for thousands of entrepreneurs already navigating rising costs and economic uncertainty. We commend the administration for pairing this difficult change with a smart, targeted investment in small business support. We also want to acknowledge the decision, the proposed BIRT tax reductions that the administration has proposed as part of the budget in following recommendations of the Philadelphia Tax Reform Commission. The Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce has in the city a great partner, and we are committed to helping and supporting the activities related to disseminating the information and providing the supports, the knowledge, the information, the outreach necessary to make sure that small businesses and entrepreneurs around the city are well informed and prepared to abide by the tax code. It is important we know, and I would not be doing my job if I were to say that there's a lot that we need to do and more to be done in order to support our small businesses. And certainly the announcement of the additional support and additional investment is a great first step in making that a reality. Again, we look forward to working with the Finance Department, the Law Department, the Commerce, and the broader administration to build a business climate that is modern, fair, competitive, because if our small businesses succeed, certainly the city will succeed as well. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Iola Harper, and I am the Executive Director of the Women's Opportunities Resource Center. And I'm proud to stand here on behalf of WORK because we've been here for over 30 years, helping businesses, empowering individuals, especially women in underserved communities, to build brighter financial futures. At work, we do more than provide resources. We deliver pathways to economic independence. We're a certified CDFI that provides business training and microloans for a few hundred up to $50,000. And it's tailored for people who might not qualify for the typical bank loan. For businesses who want to own their place of business, we partner with the Commerce Department in the city to help them secure their building, and we can provide a loan of up to $350,000 for that. Today, I'm especially excited to highlight our matched savings program, one of our most powerful tools to help for wealth building. For every dollar a participant saves, we match their savings 2 to 1, 3 to 1, or 4 to 1, helping them double their savings to reach life-changing goals like starting a business, purchasing a home, saving for an emergency, or continuing their education. I know that when small businesses thrive, whole communities rise. Work is one organization in an ecosystem of organizations that provide support to businesses in this city, like the Hispanic Chamber, like the African American Chamber, and others. We are deeply grateful to the Department of Commerce, whose funding, in part, helps us make this work possible. And I just want to end by saying that we are more than happy to partner with you to make information about BIRT available, because while this is difficult, our businesses are going to have to understand and embrace what they have to do. So we want to partner with you guys to make sure they understand the rules and regulations. So thank you.
Thank you, Iola and Jennifer. We appreciate your partnership and all the work that you do in our communities. To sum up, you've heard the legal risk assessment, you've heard the financial risk assessment, and how the administration concluded that it was too risky to continue the exemption. But you also heard about the supportive programs that will be expanded to assist our businesses as they navigate paying the BIRT tax next year. To hear more about the overall proposed budget, we recommend that members of the public, the press, attend one of the mayor's town halls that is taking place around the city between now and June, or listen to the city council hearings, which also run through this spring. And now we will open for questions. Sean. Yep. Yes, so here's the possibility. If we go into court, now we're on notice, right? We've received a lawsuit. So if we continue with this tax and go before a court, they could say, yes, we could sever, but you have to go backwards to make everybody whole. So we have two options if we go back. We can, A, collect on everybody that we didn't collect from, right? That means collecting on small businesses for 1, 2, 3 years. Or we could collect on nobody and give up all this money, right? So it's not just a clean severance and move forward. Now we are on notice. So the longer we keep doing this, the more at risk we are of a court doing something that could be devastating. I'm sorry, could you repeat? Could another lawsuit after Zoll, do you mean, be filed? Because we already have the lawsuit, right? And that's why we're making the change now. It's imperative that we have made the change right now. There could be a legal risk, but we have done the right thing. It has come to our attention. We did the right thing. We are moving forward. There has been no court ruling that this violates the uniformity clause. We have a case, and when the case came up, look, only I agree that there is risk. Only a court will decide if it's unconstitutional, but the risk is very high based on the changing case law at the time. When BIRT was enacted in 2011 or 2012, the case law was different than it is today. There's been case after case after case that have come over the last 10 plus years. And when we're looking at this now and we're on notice and we're doing the risk assessment, if we lose, it is devastating. Only a court can decide if it's unconstitutional or not.
And I'm not a lawyer, but some very smart lawyers who've had a lot of success tells me that there's a reasonable chance that the city would prevail, and that even if it doesn't, the possibility of sanctions and rebating taxes is extremely small based on
I understand that there have been some legal memos circulating, and I believe they are wrong, because what they are not taking into consideration, it is the effective tax rate that matters. So at $100,000, if your business makes $100,000, your effective tax rate is 0. If your business makes $200,000, your effective tax rate is different, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. And so the legal memos that have been circulated that I'm aware of are wrong on their analysis. I believe there's a significant risk that a court could find that it is unconstitutional. I think the plaintiff has made a very good argument, and that's why we looked at this again and have undergone the legal and financial risk assessment, and the mayor made the decision that it is just too great to risk losing hundreds of millions of dollars. So the mayor very much supports getting the BIRT exemption done through the right process, like what happened with the soda tax, right? So the soda tax eventually went through the process, which would require a constitutional amendment, right? So it's got to pass both the House and the Senate. It has to get on the ballot. Taxpayers have to vote for it. And then after that, the General Assembly would do enabling legislation.
Yeah, it's about $30 million. So we tried to match that amount with the amount for the Jumpstart program so that there's no net change for the general fund.
Sorry, Renee, just to go back to my first question. Sure. You say it's likely, even though it's possible, is it likely that the court would, make the city have to repay all of the revenue number?
I think it is more likely the longer we go on.
Even though in the Nextel case, the state obviously brought that all the way to the Supreme Court, and the court didn't say the tax is not constitutional.
Right, that wasn't a situation where there was notice and it kept going and going and going and going, right? Again, it's a risk assessment, right? So for this old case to get up to the PA Supreme Court will take years, and in those years, we will be collecting this tax, right? We could collect the tax or not collect the tax, but in the years that are going, we could be, not collecting the tax, we could be continuing the exemption. If we did that all the way to the PA Supreme Court and then the court did look backwards, that is a significant concern. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. Well, I want to note in Zoll there are other claims also that are going to be resolved, but standing as kind of a red herring here, honestly. We are on notice that we are doing something that is considerably risky, right? And it is something, maybe there's standing, maybe there's not. That's also an issue that we could fight all the way up to the Supreme Court, but there is a financial penalty that would be devastating. $700 million a year, and the statute of limitations is 3 years. The matter is being resolved, and when the case is dismissed, those details of the settlement can be released. Probably very soon.
Look, from the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, we don't take this lightly. This certainly will impact many, many businesses. We believe that, we know that only about 3% of Latino-owned businesses reach $1 million in sales or more. The vast, vast majority of Latino-owned businesses are solo entrepreneurs and small partnerships. So we do know that the BIRT has an outsized impact in our businesses. In fact, time and time again, when we survey businesses, they tell us that the heaviest burden in tax comes from the BIRT. So certainly this is something that is going to significantly impact. This is why having the types of mitigation efforts that the administration is proposing becomes so important. While you will not be able to trade one BIRT exemption for one business impacted or benefited by the programs that the administration is proposing, certainly the technical support, the technical assistance that chambers and other business support organizations provide will become critical. Of course, gaining or going for state approval of this exemption is something that certainly we would welcome, is something that small businesses certainly will welcome. One of the difficulties is not only, people will say, analysts will say, well, the amount that the BIRT imposes is de minimis or is very small, and it may be a small amount, but the complexity of compliance is a significant one, and that's something that worries us. But we have talked to our policy committee, we have talked to experts, and everybody that we speak with in our network, with a few exceptions, believe that this case is inevitable, that will be found to be in violation of the uniformity clause. And so we think that we need a permanent solution, and hopefully we can work with the administration to gain one.
The 54,000 represents Philadelphia businesses. So 20,000 that have filed a return that are in Philadelphia, and the other 34 are also businesses in Philadelphia that have not filed a return. So the difference is those that are outside Philadelphia. We're estimating approximately 75,000 total businesses. The Department of Revenue's focus is going to be on support and information and making sure that our communications team has a robust plan to reach out and support all businesses. We do understand that it's a transition for small businesses, and plan to be supportive of that transition. Thank you.
It's like there are no more questions. Thank you, everybody, for your time.